Good evening. My name is Lecina Hicke, and I am the CEO of St. Paul's Hospital Foundation. It is my sincere pleasure to be here with you tonight for the 2019 Mistletoe Charity Ball. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, right. It's 2020, if you'll excuse me. Has anyone seen my mask?
Good evening. Thank you for your support for the Mistletoe 2020. And thank you for tuning in to our virtual toast. I'm Pam Prosofsky, the volunteer chair of the Mistletoe Ball Committee. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. The First Nations and Métis people are traditional caretakers of this land, and we pay our respects to the keepers of this land. We are so grateful to Nutrien for continuing their support as our presenting sponsor, even in the midst of such unprecedented times. Nutrien shares our interest in innovation and the well-being of our community, and is an important part of our St. Paul's family. You have helped us open our patient and staff medical library. You have supported thousands of patients across the province through our hospital's chronic kidney disease outreach program. You helped bring a state-of-the-art SPECT CT scanner to our hospital. You have helped decrease surgical wait times with integrated suites in our operating theaters. You have supported end-of-life care through the Close to Home campaign. And now, with the Mistletoe 2020, you are helping transplant patients lead longer, healthier lives. Nutrien, thank you for inspiring us all with your dedication to growing a healthy community. Joining us tonight for our toast is Nutrien's Senior Vice President, Larry Long. Larry has a personal interest in the health of our community, and is also one of St. Paul's Hospital Foundation's newest board member. Thank you, Larry, for your volunteerism and for being here to say a few words on behalf of Nutrien.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the 2020 Mistletoe Virtual Toast. The Mistletoe event is a holiday tradition in the community and at Nutrien. And although we can't gather in person this year, we're proud to be here virtually to show support for the St. Paul's Hospital Foundation. I want to acknowledge that we've gathered on Treaty 6 territory in the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. Nutrien is a global company that helps farmers increase food production all over the world. We depend on strong relationships in our community to drive our success. Our purpose statement at Nutrien is to grow our world from the ground up. It's a statement about our role in agriculture, but it also speaks to our view of the future. We need to grow from the ground up, and that means starting here in the community. Together we can make a difference by supporting the important work that St. Paul's Hospital Foundation is doing to save lives. Compassion for our family, friends, and neighbors is at the heart of relationships and the heart of the community. Nutrien is here because we want to make the difference where people need us. I want to thank the organizers and volunteers. Though faced with some challenges in planning this year, you have done a spectacular job in reimagining the event and in virtually bringing our community together. And I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight and for your support of the St. Paul's Hospital Foundation. We encourage you to be part of building our community. It's how we grow our world from the ground up, right here at home. Please stay safe, take care, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Larry. There are so many people involved in the reimagining of this year's event. When the Mistletoe Ball Committee began rethinking this year's fundraising, we had no idea how the community would respond. And we have been astounded by the support we've received. Taking this opportunity to thank one of our newest sponsors, TD Bank. TD Bank has graciously joined this year's Mistletoe as a platinum sponsor, and we couldn't be more pleased. TD Bank has a history of supporting St. Paul's renal health and healing arts programs. Thank you, TD Bank, for your commitment to a healthy community. I would also like to thank our gold sponsors, Associated Radiologists, Cameco, Jarislowski Fraser, Esso Asher Consultants, Saskatchewan Blue Cross, and Sherwood Chevrolet. Thank you also to the many frankincense and myrrh sponsors, along with the Mistletoe Ball Friends, and everyone who gave gift-in-kind sponsorships to the baskets and provided generous discounts for the basket contents. To LMNO, thank you for once again donating the resources of your design team. Having your continued participation was a welcome comfort with everyone involved. Blossoms Florals, thank you for your support in the curation of the products, the assembly of the baskets, the storage of the items, and for understanding the mission behind the baskets and the vision of Mistletoe 2020. Additionally, each and every one of our sponsors are listed in a thank you note in your basket and on the SPH Foundation website. I encourage you to take a moment to read the list and acknowledge the generosity of our community. Now, Neil Weber, SPH Foundation Board Chair, would like to say a few words. Neil?
Thank you, Pam. On behalf of the St. Paul's Hospital Foundation Board of Directors, I welcome you to our Foundation's virtual toast for Mistletoe 2020. I'd like to acknowledge the volunteers who made fundraising this year a reality. The Volunteer Mistletoe Ball Committee is dedicated to making a difference for the health of our community. They continue to persevere through all challenges that come their way, and 2020 has proven just how dedicated they are. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our new committee chair, Pam Prosofsky. Pam, you have done a remarkable job in what has been a year full of twists and turns. I know it hasn't been easy for you, and we thank you. I'd also like to thank the past chair of many years, Carol Yelland. Your help has been instrumental to ensure a smooth transition to our new chair and to our reimagined event. We are very grateful for your continued support. I'd like to thank our volunteer board members, Doreen Howlett and Nicole Povey, for your extra volunteer work on this committee, in addition to their board duties. Barb Burscheid, as a long-standing member of our committee and former board member, we thank you for your continued service. And finally, a special thank you to two new people on our committee, Jana Dutton and Carrie Jameson. As well, thank you to St. Paul's Hospital Foundation staff who sit on this committee, Jennifer Bowe, Jesse Greenwood, and Michelle Neufeld. All of our committee volunteers go above and beyond, pouring their hearts into fundraising for our hospital. Thank you to Chef Robin for not only making a delectable dessert in our baskets, but for sharing your own story of your experience with organ transplant, which we will soon hear. Thank you to Dr. Fergal McGee, who first brought our attention to the need for a nanosequencer, and who has been working hard to champion support for all the equipment. Most of all, I want to take the time to thank every sponsor and to each and every one of you at home today who purchased a basket in support of St. Paul's Hospital. Your support for the Mistletoe 2020 will help bring the latest advancements in transplant care to our laboratory with a new nanosequencer. Whether you purchased a basket, sponsored the event, or made a donation, please know that you are making a significant difference in patient care. And now I'm pleased to present the total funds raised for Mistletoe 2020. thank you for your belief in our foundation and commend your support for healthcare in our province. Even though we can't gather in a room and celebrate in person, I hope that tonight we can officially declare that Christmas blessings are among us. I wish you all a safe and healthy Christmas. And now, I would like to introduce St. Paul's Hospital Foundation CEO, Lecina Hicke.
I'm here today joining you from the comfort of my own home in celebration of the spirit of Mistletoe Ball. This year, we brought you baskets to the comfort of your own home because of the challenges we faced in 2020. I want to take this opportunity to thank our committed Mistletoe Ball Committee for maintaining their support of this event so we could maintain our support of St. Paul's Hospital. If you've ever been to Mistletoe before, you'll know it's synonymous with things like remarkable decor, with great music, and with delicious food. If you're joining us this year, it means you too agree that Mistletoe is more than that. It's about community. Your support will help us bring a nanosequencer to St. Paul's Hospital Laboratory, a life-changing piece of equipment for kidney transplant recipients. What is the nanosequencer? The other day, I was baking cookies. No judgment, because I use applesauce instead of butter. But in baking these cookies, full disclosure, I forgot about them. And before I knew it, the smoke alarm in my home was going off. It reminded me, Lecina, you're baking, take the cookies out. But most importantly, this prevented my house from starting a fire. The nanosequencer is similar technology. When the kidney recipient receives a new kidney, they work closely alongside medical teams to refine pharmaceuticals that prevent what we call kidney rejection, or a kidney being not necessarily welcomed by a patient. A nanosequencer will ensure that patients and physicians are able to catch problems when they're at the smoke detector phase, as opposed to your house is burning down phase. Quite simply, nanosequencer technology will ensure that kidney transplant recipients keep their kidney for as long as possible. I think about why I love Mistletoe Ball, and it represents a community getting together in support of the health of our community. It becomes all that much more impactful when you happen to know someone personally who will be impacted by the generosity of Mistletoe Ball. Joining us today is Chef Robert Andreas. Robert Andreas is not only the remarkable chef responsible for the delicious mistletoe meal and the incredible dessert featured in your basket, he's also a kidney transplant recipient. Ladies and gentlemen, Robin.
I grew up in Saskatchewan in a family of 4 boys, on a farm by Davidson. I was the 3rd youngest, so I often got stuck in the kitchen with Mom, making sure that the meals were ready for everybody. So that's where my love of cooking came from. And then finally, about 20 years ago, I started at the Sheraton Cavalier in Saskatoon. And since then, I've taken over as the executive chef and have been that for the past 18 years. Making people happy with a meal is probably the best satisfying part of my job. Everybody enjoys a good meal, and if I can produce that, then I'm happy to do so. My circumstance was probably a little bit different because I have a disease that's called polycystic kidneys. So what it is cysts grow on the outside of your kidneys that basically squishes your kidney to a point where that it doesn't function properly anymore. Now, as my grandmother had this disease, and it's a genetic disease which passes on. You have a 50-50 chance of passing it on to your children. So my grandma passed it on to my mom, but not her brother. And then my mom passed it on to me and not any of my other brothers. And now I've passed it on to my son, but not my daughters. I was probably 15 when I was first diagnosed with the kidney disease, and I received my kidney last July 7th. So I've lived most of my life knowing that I was going to need a kidney at some point. So I basically got on the list once I started dialysis, and then it was 5.5 years after that when I actually got the transplant. Dialysis is a terrible way of life. Yes, it'll keep you alive, but it's not a way to live. I think I look back at what my mother missed because she died. I'm 53 right now, and she died when she was 54. So I know that, and my grandma was around the same age. So I know that without this transplant, I would have probably been, possibly close to that time when life was going to come to an end. It was a couple days before I got my transplant that I got the phone call. I was actually at work, basically just about getting ready to go to dialysis for my afternoon treatment. And Dr. Hassan phoned me and asked me if I was, feeling okay, and, had I been sick or anything like that. And he said at that point that we might have a kidney for you. So many emotions that it's hard to explain. Like, I was happy, I was scared, I was excited, I was terrified, everything all at once, all in the same breath. My life is different now. It's just different. It's not what it's been for the last 5.5 years on dialysis. It's not the run up to that 5.5 years of wondering whether or not that I'm ever going to get that kidney. I've got that kidney now, and life is different. Unfortunately, there is no warranty for this. Rejection can happen at any time, and it's part of the risk, but it's, with risk there is reward, and right now I'm living in the reward part. Medical advances have changed so much, and they continue to change so much that, it's amazing. It's really quite amazing. My grandmother, when she had this disease, would have never dreamt of, she was one of the first people that ever had dialysis, let alone, thinking that a different kidney would help her live. My son will have the benefit of this in 20 years when he probably will need a kidney, and this new technology will help him. The more advances there are, the more hope there is for everyone. Well, there's an absolute connection to my joy and pleasure of doing the ball, the Mistletoe Ball, because everything that I've given to the hospital, I've got back, in care and in facilities. And so every dollar that I can help the foundation make at the Mistletoe Ball is that much more that, people like myself who get transplants receive in the end. I've been doing it for 18 years, and it is one of our biggest events. So I've done over half the mistletoes, and I am a control freak when it comes to things like the Mistletoe Ball, because I want to make sure it's right.
Thank you, Chef Robin, for sharing your story. Now, there's only one thing left to do. Raise your glass to health and happiness, and to your generosity, and for bringing the latest advancements in healthcare technology to St. Paul's Hospital. Cheers.
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 Thank you, everyone, and have a very Merry Christmas.